Have you ever felt that someone around you was subtly pulling your strings without ever saying a word? Maybe they make you feel guilty for no reason or twist your emotions until you question your own judgment. Maybe you felt trapped in a conversation, agreeing to things you never planned to, walking away, feeling strangely drained, confused, or ashamed. What if I told you that wasn't an accident? What if I told you some people can control your mind without ever raising their voice, using invisible tactics so subtle you mistake them for kindness, concern, or even love? The truth is, manipulation isn't always loud. It's often silent, slow, and psychological. It hides behind smiles, empathy, and gentle tones. It masquerades as friendship, advice, or care. But behind the facade lies control, deliberate, systematic, and chillingly effective. Once you recognize the signs, you'll start to see them everywhere, in coworkers, partners, leaders, even in the people you trust the most. Because manipulation is an art, and you're about to learn how to see the artist behind the mask. In this video, we'll expose 10 hidden signs someone is secretly manipulating you. Each one may seem harmless on its own, but together they form a psychological trap. By the end, you'll be able to detect the subtle techniques manipulators use to bend emotions, shape perception, and quietly steal control. Let's begin. The first sign is the guilt seed. Manipulators plant guilt like a gardener plants seeds, watering them with carefully chosen words until they bloom inside your conscience. They say things like, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me?" Or, "I guess I just care more than you do." Their goal isn't understanding, it's compliance. They know guilt drives behavior faster than reason ever will. You start doing things not because you want to, but because you feel you owe them. True connection never demands repayment. Manipulation always does. The second sign is emotional mirroring. At first, it feels comforting. Someone who matches your tone, your gestures, your opinions. It feels like they get you. But the manipulator doesn't reflect who you are. They reflect who you want them to be. It's a disguise built to disarm you. The more you see yourself in them, the more you trust them, until you lower your defenses completely. Then, once you're hooked, the mirror shatters. They no longer need to imitate you, because now you're imitating them. The third sign is the moving target. Manipulators shift the goalposts so you're always chasing their approval. Today you're praised for something. Tomorrow the same act earns criticism. It keeps you anxious and uncertain, desperate to please. This unpredictability isn't chaos, it's control. Your emotional balance becomes dependent on their mood. The moment you realize that their standards keep changing, you also realize they were never meant to be met. The fourth sign is gaslighting, the systematic distortion of your reality. A manipulator denies what happened, rewrites memories, and undermines your perception until you question your own mind. You hear phrases like, "You're remembering it wrong," or "You're too sensitive." Over time, your confidence fractures. You start relying on the manipulator for truth, for validation, for permission to feel. This is psychological imprisonment disguised as care. The antidote is documentation and distance. Write down what happens. Trust your records and protect your sense of reality like it's your oxygen. The fifth sign is weaponized kindness. Not all control looks cruel. Sometimes it comes wrapped in generosity. A manipulator showers you with favors, attention, or gifts, creating an invisible debt. When they eventually make a request, you feel obligated to comply. After everything I've done for you, they'll say, is it too much to ask? Genuine kindness expects nothing in return. Manipulative kindness is a transaction disguised as affection. Learn to separate the two. The sixth sign is the disappearing act. When you resist their control or express independence, manipulators withdraw affection, attention, or communication. Silence becomes punishment. You're left wondering what you did wrong, feeling anxious to restore balance. This emotional starvation forces compliance faster than argument ever could. Healthy people talk. Manipulators vanish. If someone's love disappears the moment you stop obeying, it was never love. It was leverage. The seventh sign is triangulation. Instead of confronting you directly, manipulators bring in a third person, someone else's opinion, a comparison, or a concerned friend. They say things like, even Sarah thinks you've been distant, or everyone agrees you've changed. It isolates you, making you doubt your perception and question your worth. The truth? Those others often don't exist, or they've been twisted into tools. The manipulator divides to conquer, turning people into pawns on a board where only they win. The eighth sign is over-explanation traps. Manipulators make you justify everything. Your feelings, your needs, your boundaries, until you exhaust yourself trying to be understood. Every no becomes a debate, every emotion a crime. The point isn't your reasoning, it's your submission. They want you tired enough to surrender. The lesson here is simple, but hard. You owe no essay for your boundaries. A calm no is complete. The ninth sign is selective memory. A manipulator remembers every favor they did for you, but forgets every kindness you showed them. They recall every mistake you made, but erase their own. This asymmetry is deliberate. It keeps you indebted, apologetic, and small. When someone's memory only serves their advantage, you're not dealing with forgetfulness. You're dealing with control disguised as amnesia. And the 10th sign, the most insidious of all, is the identity shift. Over time, manipulators subtly reshape how you see yourself. They start with small corrections. You're overreacting. You're being dramatic. You're not that kind of person. Slowly, you stop recognizing your reflection. You question your instincts, your confidence, your worth. They strip away your individuality until you depend on them to define who you are. This is the end game of manipulation. Not to control what you do, but who you believe you are. The moment you notice that your personality feels smaller around someone, it's time to step back. You're not losing yourself. You're being rewritten. When you combine all these signs, guilt, mirroring, shifting standards, gaslighting, false kindness, silent punishments, triangulation, over-explanation traps, selective memory, and identity erosion, you see the architecture of manipulation. It's not always dramatic or violent. Often it's quiet, subtle, almost invisible. But it works because it preys on trust, empathy, and fear. The very qualities that make us human. Manipulators don't destroy those qualities. They weaponize them. Now that you've seen these patterns, you'll start noticing them in places you never expected. In conversations, relationships, workplaces, even family dynamics. Don't be surprised if faces you once trusted begin to look different. That's not paranoia, it's clarity. Seeing manipulation doesn't make you cynical. It makes you conscious. Remember this. Awareness breaks control. Once you recognize the tactic, it loses its magic. The guilt fades. The confusion clears. You stop reacting and start observing. And that's when you reclaim your mind. Manipulators thrive in darkness. They dissolve in light. So the next time someone twists your words, silences you with guilt, or rewrites your reality, don't explain, don't defend, just notice. Their power only exists when you play their game. Refuse to play. If this opened your eyes, you're already ahead of most. Because mind control isn't science fiction, it's psychology, and it's happening every day. But now, you can see the strings. You can protect your thoughts, your emotions, your identity. This is Psyche Mind Codes. Here, we decode the hidden patterns of influence that shape human behavior, the ones no one else dares to reveal. Subscribe, because the deeper you go, the more you'll see. And once you see the code, no manipulator can ever control you again.